Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Walt Benson. I'm the Vice Chair for Bernalillo County Commission, and Madam Chair Barboa has asked me to chair this meeting. So I officially call this August 9th, 2020 virtual meeting, zoning meeting. Are we good to go?
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Okay. The August 9th, 2020 virtual zoning meeting of the Bernalillo County Board of Commissioners to order. So first we'll have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Commissioner O'Malley.
Mr. Vice Chair will join us this moment of silence. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States
of America and to the republic. Oh, I'm hearing some feedback. For which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Okay, DCM Enrico Grotti or Director Lucas Tafoya, are there any changes to the agenda today?
Good afternoon, Chair Benson. We do have a couple minor changes. They're just typos. So I'll bring your attention to 5A2 and 6B2. It states approve ordinance number 2022-blank adopting a zone map amendment. That should read approve ordinance 2022-blank adopting a zone code amendment. So this is a zone code amendment, not a zone map amendment. So it's just a minor typo for you all to consider. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. And then is the 5B2 a zone map amendment?
Yes, that is correct. So that'd be 5A2 and 5B2 need to be both state zone code amendment instead of zone map amendment.
Okay, thank you, Director Tafoya. Okay, now on to the approval of minutes. Our last meeting was April 12th, 2022. So I move to approve the zoning meeting minutes from April 12th, 2022. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Piscotti. Okay, so we will now proceed with public hearing items and hearing procedures.
Mr. Chair, my apologies. If we can just call for a vote on that and have Madam Clerk do the roll call vote.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Julia. Madam Clerk, would you please do a roll call vote?
Absolutely. Commissioner O'Malley.
Yes.
Commissioner Casada. I think he nodded. Yeah. Commissioner Piscotti. Vice Chair Benson.
Aye.
So called.
Okay, thank you so much. So we will now proceed with the public hearing items and hearing procedures. And are there, I apologize, Julianne, remind me, do we have any speakers at this point?
Mr. Chair, we have two that have signed up for the public hearing for both of these items. I am only seeing one online at the moment. We can go into public hearing after staff provides their presentation, which I understand will be 5A and 5B will be presented in one, if that's correct.
Great, I believe that is correct. Mr. Tafoya or Grotti can confirm.
Mr. Chair, yes, we can hear both presentations, but they all need to be voted separately.
Okay, great. Well, before we get to the presentations, this is for the amendment to the Isleta Boulevard and Village Center Sector Development Plan. Madam Clerk, would you please issue a resolution and ordinance number for these?
Madam Clerk, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm sorry. For 5A1, AR 2022-70, 5A2 is ordinance 2022-11. 5B1 is AR 2022-71. B2 is ordinance 2022-12.
Thank you so much. Okay, DCM Grady or Director Lucas Tafoya, or any of your staff, please present your material.
Chairman, Maggie Gould will be starting this on item 5.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. And thank you to the clerk for giving us those ordinance and resolution numbers. This is a case that was recommended for approval at the July 6th hearing of the County Planning Commission under the case number SPR 2022-001. Please note that there is a typo in the attachments for this case. The parcels, the incorrect reading should say the parcels that are currently zoned SDIVC and not located within the Pajarito Village, Los Padillas, should read parcels which are currently zoned SDIVC and not located within the Pajarito Village and Los Padillas Village centers. So that language, and if I may share my screen here. This is the, oh dear. Are you able to see this now? So this is the language as corrected. And I'd like to take a moment to share a map of the plan area. Okay. So this is a request for a text amendment within the Isleta Boulevard and Village Center Sector Development Plan to the SDIVC zone to allow property owners to opt into the C1 zone from the SDIVC zone if their property was zoned C1 prior to the adoption of the sector plan in 2008. The boundaries of the sector plan include all of the parcels facing Isleta Boulevard between Avenida Dolores Huerta, formerly known as Bridge, and the Isleta Pueblo, and including designated village centers within the plan. The Isleta Boulevard and Village Centers Sector Development Plan was adopted by Bernalillo County in 2008 to guide development along the Isleta corridor. The plan contains a design overlay that is applicable to all properties within the plan area and has 3 zones specifically tailored to the plan area. When the county adopted the plan in 2008, approximately 240 parcels zoned C1 were rezoned to the SDIVC as part of the planning process. The conditions along the corridor have changed since the adoption of the plan in 2008, and the opt-in process will offer additional flexibility for development and redevelopment in the corridor. Additionally, redevelopment projects along the corridor have pointed out the need for more flexibility in the uses available in the plan area. So this request allows property owners whose land was rezoned from the C1 to the SDIVC to opt back into the C1 zone through the county's zone change process. And that is a public process. So this plan is within the rural, semi-urban, and established urban areas of the comprehensive plan and within the boundaries of the Southwest Area Plan. And this request does meet the intent of the goals and policies described in these plans, in that it meets the intent for Isleta Boulevard to be a commercial corridor while still preserving the character of the area. This request will allow a broader variety of uses than currently allowed, and is consistent with the uses allowed prior to the adoption of the plan. And again, the intent of this amendment is to allow these new uses while still maintaining the design standards that contribute to the preservation of area character. The C1 zone does allow services such as drive-through banks, dry cleaners, and restaurants, provided they have adequate queuing on site, service stations, liquor sales, things like that. The SDIVC zone allows mixed-use development permissively and does have more parking flexibility. So again, a property owner would be able to choose what zoning is going to work best for their needs. Prior to the hearing, staff mailed approximately 2,600 letters to property owners within the plan boundaries and within 500 feet of the plan boundaries for the July 6th hearing. Staff received approximately 7 phone calls regarding the request, 1 in support and 6 simply asking questions about the amendments. No opposition was expressed. At the July 6th CPC hearing, 3 people spoke in support of the request. Staff has not received any additional comments regarding the request. This concludes my presentation, and I will stand for questions, or if you would like me to present the second set of amendments and then do questions, I'm happy to do that as well. It's at the pleasure of the commission.
Thank you, Ms. Gould. Before, I would like you to continue, but just in case, before we continue, are there any questions from Ms. Gould? Okay, I don't see any. So yeah, please, Ms. Gould, continue.
Thank you. So again, you have before you a resolution and an ordinance. And again, you also have a typo that needs to be corrected. So just please note that the attachment containing the SDIVC zone does include the changes incorporated from that opt-in request that I just spoke about, the SPR 2022-001, in addition to the changes to the rest of the zones. And so this is a request for text amendments within the Isleta Boulevard and Village Center Sector Development Plan as previously discussed. And this will allow additional land uses within the Sector Development Plan zones, SDIVC, which is the Village Center Zone, SDIMU, which is a mixed use zone, and SDIA, which is an equivalent to our A1 agricultural zone, in accordance with recently adopted changes to the county zoning code. These changes allow the addition of cannabis uses consistent with section 22.4.20. The changes also include adding a farmer's market as a permissive use as regulated in the A1 zone, allowing the sale of alcohol under small brewers, small wine growers, or small distillers permits as regulated in the C1 zone, and allowing mobile food establishments or food trucks as regulated in the C1 zone. So the boundaries again are still the boundaries of the sector plan, basically from Bridge or Avenida de Lourdes Huerta to the Isleta Pueblo boundary at the south. And this request, it's important to note, impacts all of the SD zones within the plan boundary, but does not impact any of the regular zones within the plan area. So anything zone C1 or R1 is not impacted by these changes. So the amendments do respond to changed conditions, including new regulations at the state and county level, as we said, regarding cannabis and our small brewers licenses. And these were changes that were made to the county zoning code and apply countywide. And again, the intent of these standards is to allow these new uses while still maintaining the design standards that contribute to the preservation of the area. This request sets these uses as appropriate to the special zones in the plan, and it expands allowed uses and expands the possibilities for jobs and services within the plan area. These uses were not part of the comprehensive zoning code at the time the plan was adopted, so they were not considered. And as we just said, they were previously approved countywide, but had not been added into any of the sector plans. So this request does further policies regarding economic development, redevelopment of older neighborhoods, maintenance of existing neighborhood character, and additional planning along Isleta, and the addition of new services and jobs. And we did the same mailing for both of these requests. So approximately 2,600 letters to property owners within the plan boundaries and within 500 feet of the plan boundaries. And again, we had one call in support and basically 6 questions. And we did have 3 people speak in favor of this at the July CPC hearing. And so thank you. I will stand for any questions.
Mr. Chair, you're on mute.
Thank you, Julianne. Looks like Commissioner Quezada has his hand up. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So I think, what this does, it keeps that commitment to everything outside of Isleta, which is, a lot of the agricultural land, and it kind of preserves that. It gives a corridor for opportunity for small businesses and economic development and some of the job kind of things that, we've been kind of fighting for in the South Valley. And so I think this stays true to that. Isleta has always been kind of identified as where you put the small stores, the farmers markets, the tire shops, the restaurant, the drive-through restaurants, whatnot. And it's basically really to just use that corridor for that type of development so we can adhere to really preserving the agricultural part of the South Valley and keep that, as a commitment to that community, keep that commitment to the community as agriculture, right? And so that way development doesn't really have to go out that. As you saw on the map, Isleta is a very long road and it has a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of already old businesses that have been there a long time. I think that this might, provide more opportunities for people in that area who want to start businesses and live close to home, right? So this is something that I think also helps us with the traffic problem with people living, not living, but working and shopping on the other side of the river. I support this for many different reasons, but those are the main reasons for me. It's really a commitment to really preserving agriculture and also, providing opportunities for the residents of the South Valley. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good comments, makes sense. Mr. Ham, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Benson, members of the commission. And I'm just going to echo Commissioner Quesada's comments as part of my statement I'm going to make now, that this does really create consistency for the Isleta corridor, that the opportunities that are available to the rest of the county. So this really brings those into the South Valley and specifically the Isleta area. And our department's excited to offer those as opportunities for the residents and the business owners alike down there. I was reviewing the documents here, and I think we may have made a slight omission that I wanted to bring to the commission's attention for your consideration. So the part of the zoning code amendments that you might remember that I presented last year to you all and that you adopted had to do with the restaurant liquor license as well. That amendment allowed for the sale of beer, wine, and spirits under a restaurant liquor license. And that was to coincide with changes to New Mexico state law with regard to restaurants being able to serve alcohol when it occurs with a food establishment. So I would suggest for your consideration, if we could potentially incorporate that as an additional amendment to this language, so that we do really have parity across the board with regard to restaurants and their ability to generate income from sales of other products that are regulated, controlled, and only sold to folks that are of age. So with that, I'll stand for any questions, and I appreciate your time.
It's a good catch, Mr. Ham. Thank you very much. Commissioner Quesada.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I just want to, piggyback on what Mr. Ham said. This is for establishments that have to stay within those boundaries throughout the state, which is you have to serve 60% food or something else in order to be able to have a full type of liquor license. So if you have restaurants and those types of businesses benefit from this. As we all know, a liquor license, to own one of those is almost impossible for people who are starting small restaurant style businesses, and that draws a lot more to your restaurant when you're able to do the full service. So I just want everybody to know this isn't really about packaged liquors. It's not about selling miniatures and quarts and whatnot. It's about, what we're doing across the whole state of New Mexico, which is saying, hey, if you serve 60% food, then you qualify under this law to have a full liquor license. which is, everything else besides beer and wine. So I just wanted to make sure that we clarify that for the public, that this isn't about packaged liquor. It's more about restaurants and food. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ham. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think I recall in that prior meeting, we all discussed our mutual love for wine margaritas. Just kidding. Nobody here is a fan of wine margaritas. Okay, good comment. Any other questions or comments before we go to public comment? Okay, Julianne, can you please introduce the public speakers?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have Mr. Dave Hargrove and Gabriel Fuentes. It looks like only Gabriel Fuentes is on to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes. Can you please proceed?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. My name is Gabe Fuentes. I'm a longtime resident of the South Valley. I went to Rio Grande High School. I'm actually going to be a business owner upon approval of this amendment. So I'm excited that the South Valley is evolving. I'm excited to be able to contribute to a community that I've lived in my entire life. I have a lot of plans with my business to help the community, and it's very exciting to see it grow. So I just wanted to thank you guys for your time and hearing me today, as well as thinking of the South Valley and helping us improve.
Thank you, Mr. Fuentes, and thank you for stepping up to be a leader in our community as a new business owner. Congratulations, and also my condolences to you. There's a lot of sleepless nights and headaches, but thank you. Go out there and succeed and kick butt and grow and prosper, because as you do, Bernalillo County will continue to prosper, which is what we want. All right, thank you for your comment. Any questions for Mr. Fuentes?
And Mr. Chair, just for the record, that concludes the public hearing for 5A and 5B.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with that, are there any further questions? And if not, would anybody like to make a motion?
Sorry,
I'll
I
make a
move for
motion.
approval. Mr. Vice Chair, I move for approval.
Go for it. Go for it. All right,
Second.
Miss Commissioner Quesada makes a motion. I'm sorry, who seconded it?
I second.
Commissioner Piscotti. Thank you so much.
Piscotti.
All right. Mr. Ham, please, you've got your hand up.
Chairman, I just wanted to see if the commission would like to include for the motion to include the modification that I spoke about, to include the restaurants being able to allow spirits as part of their sales.
Yes, I definitely want to include that. So do we need to make a motion to approve that amendment, Julianne?
Mr. Chair, yes. So if you want a motion to move that amendment specifically, and then you'll vote on the item as amended.
So, Mr.
Great.
Chair, I would move for approval for the amendment to include the liquor language that coincides with the state law.
Got it. Commissioner Piscotti, can I count on you for another second?
Absolutely. I'll second that.
Great. All right. Well, all those in favor of reducing the number of wine margaritas out there and voting in favor of this, say aye. All opposed, say no. And Madam Clerk, could you please do a roll call?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Quesada,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Hi.
Vice Chair Benson.
Aye.
So called.
Hey, thank you so much, Madam Clerk. And with that, are there any closing comments?
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, sir.
I would like to move for approval of item. Sorry, I got to get back to my agenda. item
5A and 5B.
5A. Are we doing 5A, then 5B, correct? So I'd like to, a motion, item 5A as amended.
I'll second.
And can we go ahead and do a vote for both? Or no, we have to separate them, right? Okay. All right, sounds good. Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call for this vote?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Casada,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benson.
Aye,
So called.
and it passes.
Mr.
Okay,
Vice
so
Chair,
yes, Commissioner.
I'd like to move for approval for item 5B on the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioners. Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call?
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Casada,
Aye.
Commissioner Piscotti,
Aye.
Vice Chair Benson.
Aye.
So called.
Okay, thank you so much. And I believe that concludes our items. Is there anybody else who has something to add, or Julianne, is there anything else that needs to be said before we announce the next meeting?
Mr. Chair, I think we're covered. Good job. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so the next meeting will be Tuesday, August 16th at 2 p.m. in the Ken Sanchez Commission chambers. And if there's no other business, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.